Hello, welcome back to today's this week lesson, which is on week 5. Uh, so you can see over here is what we're gonna do today. We're gonna first start to discuss about what we have already been going through, what we have been discussing all the while, and of course this week lesson. So if you're wondering why are we looking at this over here, the earth, right? No, I don't know why. Let me see. We start. Alright, this is how we start our journey, right? That's why the earth over here. But me over here, we start our journey by looking into what is IT. Of course, by now you should know what is IT by itself. It's information technology, and of course we are trying to find the relevance between learning IT and accounting, which I actually highlighted quite a few of them. Then we talk about, mainly in this chapter, on the chapter 1, we just go through a general overview on what actually happened. A general overview on what actually why is the IT matters to the accountants and its role in, I would say, streamlining the accountant's work, and how the accountant's role changes after the application of the IT. So I would say we have actually covered up the first section of our syllabus. So here what I'm gonna do is give you a brief pre-look before we enter into the section 2 of our syllabus of content for this ACW180. So the pre-look on this first section, or the first season before we go into the second, is we learn about the hardware. Basically, we try to go into detail, not really detail, but at the borderline of the surface, to understand the IT general role. Then we look into the components inside the computer. Specifically, we look at the CPU. Okay, somewhere around here. Actually I generated this image, so bear with me. I think this is the, what is it, sync this, right? I forgot the sync hint something that covers up the CPU. So bear with me. Over here is the CPU. Okay, we look into the some more. We talk about the motherboard with the ROM. So maybe I want to highlight over here is the ROM, the memories, right? The memories. Bear with me, this is a fictitious image, means it's fake image. Alright, I just generated out just to show you the illustration. We got the storage over here. We had the SSD, the hard disk. Okay, we got the RAM over here. We got the, what's some more, motherboard itself. motherboard, and we got the fan, the cooling fan, right? Apparently it shouldn't be I just put it over there just for cooling fan. Okay, so we actually goes into detail on the components that is inside the computer, right? The inside the computer, right? And how this we try to understand a bit on how the computer computes, all right? Not in really detail, but we understand quite a bit on that. Then we also try to understand how the CPU over here, all right, how the CPU provide instructions, how the CPU react to instructions. All right, there's the instruction cycle. We deep dive down into the CPU, which is, I would say, one of the important topics that you should get yourself well aware with. All right. Following this, we go into the other hardware. Actually, this is the hardware, right? The hardware. We are actually in the first section over here. We look into a very detailed understanding, all right, on the breakdown of the computer in terms of the components inside the computer, and also the external components, the external hardware, right? External hardware that is linked to the computer, which we actually name them the input and the output devices. All right, we actually name them the input and output devices. Over here we didn't talk much about how it works yet, right? We just look at them separately. We look at this separately. We actually have this down here. Let me just go. We actually break down this into the component inside the computer, and also the external input and output devices, which actually something like this. All right, we input something over here to this computer, and then how it just project out the outputs, something like this. All right, this is what what I try to create the understanding on the first section. However, this is not the end yet, right? We cannot simply plug in anything, and then you cannot just simply go through the information. We need something to mediate between this computer, the components, internal and the input and the output devices with the computer. So we have the operating system. Operating system over here act as the bridge, I would say, between the user, all right, the user over here, to the computer to actually interact with all of these components. All right, then it comes back through like this somehow. All right, that's pretty much the, I would say, season 1. All right, now what happened over here is we have done understanding the hardware, we have done understanding the OS role, we have done understanding all of this. So we are moving into the next section, which actually which we want to understand about the software now, right? Hardware already done. All right, these are all over here to here is the hardware. All right, hardware. Now we are moving into the software. All right, which starts from the second section. All right, let me just put this one over here to here, the section 1, and the section 2 we actually talks about the software. I hope this makes sense to you in terms of the flow that we are moving into in this subject. All right, so in terms of the software, we'll try to understand. All right, we try to study and go through the flow of this what is software, right? Basically, we try to understand also different types of software, which is this week lesson, week 5. All right, week 5 we actually look into the programs and apps, productivity, security, and other tools. All right, so over here it falls under the software section. And the section 3, all right, these are all actually following back to your learning objective. All right, if you go back, dig up your learning objective, there is 3 learning objectives. First is talking about the components of the computer. Second is it talks about the Microsoft Office, the understanding of that, which falls under the software. And the third one is actually on the this one. All right, which actually goes back to the internet, right, the e-business, so that we can see how the computer now connects to the internet, which links you to the, just zoom back here, which let you connect to the world. All right, so that is the third section, which we have yet to cover. So this week, next week, and the week after you come back from your mid-semester break, we'll talk about the software. In this section 2, my primary focus is on highlighting the different softwares and then focusing specifically on the logic, right? The logic or the mechanism behind a database. How does this computer, how can you set up a database? How to program a database in a simple programming language. All right, we will look into a bit on plus over here database, and a bit on programming. Which is a very simple one. Apparently we don't really use any programming code over here because we are using Microsoft Access. Microsoft Access doesn't requires you to use any codes. However, we will use the VBA for the Excel, the words and Excel. So understanding how to write a programming code, understanding what a script, all right, the code script made up of, will provide you a little bit of idea on how to write this VBA script for you to run some macros, right? So that's it on this recap. I will now pause and move into the section 1.